Hello, welcome back to another video. This is another one of the usuals. It's a week of art, and in this one I'm working on this collage that you see now, a little cute tea party inspired collage for a Patreon member, and then I'm working on a lot in this video on a book cover. It's just for my portfolio. It's not a real book, it's completely made up, but I'll talk about a little bit. I'll talk in more detail about that later on, but for now I'm working on a collage. Like I mentioned, this is for a Patreon member, so basically the top tier of my Patreon, you get an A6 collage every month of whatever you want, basically, and she requested something with a tea party theme, and at first I was a bit like, oh gosh, I've never tried to collage food or anything really, except like landscapes. I mean, I have been getting outside my comfort zone a lot more in these past few months, and I guess doing these like requests is really helping me get outside my comfort zone, because I would never have picked this if left to my own devices. But although I was a bit like, oh gosh, I don't really know what to do here, I'm actually really glad I did it, because it's opened up like a whole new world of inspiration for me. Collaging these little teapots it was time consuming, like cutting out all those little spikes on the flowers. Like, it took ages, but it's now got me thinking about doing a bigger teapot collage where it's like just a plain white background, and then there's just, I don't know, like maybe 10 just loads of teapots kind of slotting together, some big, some small, all like different shapes, because I was on Pinterest looking for inspiration for this piece, and there's just so many teapots. So many teapots, and they're all so cute. Like, I had such a challenge trying to pick which teapot to use for this piece. I ended up like mashing a few designs together for it, but anyway, I don't know, I've been inspired. I feel like I want to do a much bigger teapot piece now, so we'll see. I think it'd be nice to do that for my shop update, because also the thing I was making for the book cover that you'll see later on, I'm also going to turn into a print, because I have got my shop update at the forefront of my mind. It's been ages since I've updated my shop, and it's because a lot of the work I've been doing has been for my portfolio. It's either been for my portfolio or it's been for the monthly Patreon print. So while I have been making lots of prints and lots of new art, and none of it I can use for my shop update, so I'm trying to get into the mentality of setting aside the time to make something specifically for the shop, because all the really nice prints I've been making recently have been dedicated to Patreon for the print that they get every month. So basically every month on Patreon there's a print that gets sent out. I've done lots of cute designs. I'll pop them up on screen actually. I'll flash them up now. These are the designs of the past. Anyway, as lovely as they are, I can't use them for the shop. I mean, I would like to eventually, but I want enough time to have passed before I can pop them in the shop. Like maybe in a year's time, I'll go back and I'll pick like my top 5 prints from Patreon and they'll go in the shop eventually. But, you know, enough time has to have passed before I do that. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I think I'll also make this into a print for the shop, because I think it's really cute. Probably do this as an A5 print, even though it is A6, I'll probably do it as an A5 print. So just slowly working towards that shop update. I would like to do it in the transition between spring and summer, whatever that time is. So maybe the end of April would be quite a nice time to do it, but I mean, it depends what I have made, because I also like to do a new washi tape design, but they take like a month to get made, so really I should be on that now. Oh, I don't know, too much to think about. But here's the finished piece, and here I am like packing it up and sending it off to its new home. And then that print of the desk is last month's print, so that was January's, was it? Oh, is it February's? I don't know. No, was it? I'm getting mixed up. I think that was February's print, the cute little desk collage. I have just spent the last I don't really know how long, hour and a half, drawing out this little scene here. Ignore the teapots on the side, just these little houses and the birds, and because I'd like to start a new piece of art. And a while ago you might remember me talking about murmuration and how I'd quite like to do a piece involving it in some way. I did a sketch a while ago, if I can find the page. Here it is. I did a sketch a while ago just whilst I was waiting for stuff to print. Oh, look at that, it's gone really messy on the side. I try my hardest to stop things smudging by putting like paper in between, but I don't know, it's just impossible. But I did this sketch a while ago, just whilst I was printing, in between putting paper in the printer, and I liked it. And then I just got busy with other things and never got back round to the idea until now. Trying to get a bit of like lines in to show the movement. I am inspired a lot by that piece I made up there, the owl one. Actually, I'll just pop it on screen because it'll look a lot nicer. But I really, really love that piece. I made that in December. And then I was just trying to think of ways I could jazz up the scene a bit, because I was thinking I'll just do a nice landscape underneath and then the birds in the sky. But then it's kind of really similar to the composition of the owl piece. So I was trying to figure out like what I could do to make it more interesting. And then I remembered that for a while I've also been wanting to collage the tops of rooftops. A very quick sketch. I mean, it still took me a while, but you know, I was being really loose with my lines. And I also just put, this is supposed to be a person and their dog sat on the roof. I don't know if that will stay. Anyway, so that's the idea. And then I started to put together, I will take you to my laptop. This is Milano. I'm still using it. I talked about it in a video a while ago, but still loving it, still using it. Anyway, I put together a mood board for this new piece of art that I'm planning. So these are from Pinterest. Obviously I need some pictures of murmuration to inspire me. Tops of rooftops, and this is a piece by Clover Robin, which I have had saved on my Instagram for a while. I just think it's lovely, and the shapes and the colours are very nice. And then this is just these, well, I mean, here's a piece of murmuration by Olga, one of my favourite artists, so that had to go in. And then everything else is more just like inspiring me for the general feel of the piece. I want to try and stay loose, and Emma Malayuka is honestly one of my favourite artists. I save nearly every one of her posts because it's just so inspiring, and I love how loose she is, and I'd like to be more loose with my own work. So this is hers and this is hers, and then finally at the bottom, Felicita Sala, sorry, I don't know how to say that, but again, another really beautiful piece, and it includes the rooftops, and I really like the colour palette as well. I'm not sure what I'm going to do colour palette wise. I could go more autumn colours like this piece, or I could go more pastel, or I could go nighttime, but I don't know whether to do nighttime because the owl piece was nighttime, and is that too similar? I don't know. At the moment I'm just figuring out the composition of the piece. Anyway, so let me take you back down here. That's my mood board. I've brought my watercolours out because I'm going to do just a bit of playing around with just one colour like I do here when I'm writing out stuff. I just use one colour. I'll show you a better example that isn't just writing. This was just a fun little play I had at Christmas time, but I think this will be a fun way to kind of plan out the compositions without being too precious about anything, because you know, you can't rub anything out with watercolour. So I mean, I could just draw it all in my sketchbook, but I just want to get out of my sketchbook a little bit, because obviously this is quite small. This is an A6 sketchbook. It would be nice to just work a little bit bigger, and just to work in a different medium to switch it up. Okay, so what originally was going to just be a playful sketch to help me figure out the composition for what would be the finished piece turned into something much more ambitious, because I was thinking I'd paint maybe like 4 different versions of the same thing just on a few different pages, and then that'll be it. But as I was going with this, I was just getting lost in the art, and it was such a nice feeling, because for a while, like for the past few months, I mean, there's been like, not been like this for every single piece, but for the most part I've been I don't know how to word it, but I feel like I've become too stuck in like how in the way I work, because obviously I work in collage and it's a very slow process because it's cutting out tiny bits of paper and arranging them together, and it's like a jigsaw and it's hard. Because of that, I think it's just been getting me a little bit down, feeling like I'm because obviously I like collage so much, I want my art to be mainly collage, but then I feel like I've boxed myself in a little bit, especially because on my Patreon it's so like collage heavy. Like I say every month the print is going to be a collage print, that's what I advertise it as, and a lot of the people on Patreon like me because I collage, and so I want to make sure there's a lot of collage related things on there, which has meant I've kind of been neglecting the other ways I work. And if you've watched like my old videos, not even that old, like a video from a year ago, you'll probably notice that I was a lot more mixed media back then. I do watercolour, I do gouache, I do coloured pencil, I do everything basically. And collage, while I love it, I've kind of been forgetting everything else because of it, trying to find a way to like combine just to be more mixed media. So like for this piece, I wasn't originally planning for it to be like a finished piece. It just kind of happened, and just to be able to work quick was such a nice feeling, because collage just isn't quick. I mean, there might be times where it's been kind of quick, but most of the time, no, it's not a quick process. So to just be able to like splatter down paint, I mean the texture making part of collaging where you paint all the paper, like that's quick, but then the actual cutting and sticking part is slow. But this, when I just be able to like make art up on the spot and splatter paint around and then switch between medias was just so nice, and I got lost in the art, and I haven't had that feeling for so long, because with collage I don't want to like poo-poo on collage because I do love it, but at times it can be very, very frustrating. But with this, I was just having so much fun, and I was really inspired by that artist I mentioned. She was on my mood board, Emma Maliuka. I'm sorry if I'm saying that name wrong, but she's one of my favourite artists, and I look at every single one of her pieces in like awe at how she manages to do it. So I was kind of trying to embrace my inner messiness with this piece, inspired by her. I was looking through all her work and thinking, well, how would she have done it? And just trying to just not think, and that's completely different to how I usually work with collage. It's I think through every single shape. It's an absolute brain overload doing a collage, but with this, just turn my brain off and splatter paint around, and it was so nice. And I think because I was working that way, ended up being a lot looser and just a lot more playful than a typical piece of my art would be. In a little bit I will do a second attempt at this, but trying to merge collage into it, because I do love collage. Like, I don't want people to like listen to this voiceover and think that I don't like it. When I do, it's just sometimes I need a break from it, and this was such a well needed break, and it's actually got me really excited for how I can incorporate mixed media into my art more. But you'll hear more about that in another section of the video. But for now, I have a few shop orders to pack, so I'll show you that. I've got some orders to pack. I've got 3 orders to pack. I might have to whip out the printer because I'm not sure what I have. I think I might be out of some prints. Do I have some of these? Oh, I have a few of them. How many do I have? I've got 2 of them, and I think someone's ordered a boat. Oh, see, I'm out of boats, so I will have to do some printing, which actually works quite well with this video sponsor, because I'm going to talk about some paper for a little bit. And so I'm going to do some printing, some packing. This leads me on nicely to talking about this video sponsor, which is Canon. I have been using their printer, the Canon PIXMA PRO 200 printer, for months and months and months now to make all my prints, and I love it. But what I want to focus on in this section is talking about their paper. My go-to paper for all my prints is the Photo Paper Pro Premium Matte paper. I currently have so many packs of this in my cupboard because I just consistently go back to it. It's super high quality, and like the prints just look so amazing on this paper, and it's pretty affordable too. So that's the paper I use for all my prints. As you can see, it almost looks like the real collage. I have a lot of comments when people buy a print, they'll say, wow, it really looks like the real thing, it looks 3D, like you can touch the paper on it. So I really recommend this paper if you're thinking about getting into prints, because like I said, it is a pretty affordable price and like the quality is just amazing. Also, I really love the premium fine art smooth paper. I don't use this paper as much because it's a slightly higher quality, so it's a little bit more pricey, but the quality is just like beautiful. It has a bit more texture to it and it's thicker, so it looks like watercolor paper when you print on it, so it has like a really nice effect. And then my second go-to paper, which I use for quite a lot of things, is the double-sided matte paper. I use it for any little projects that I'm doing which aren't prints. So if I make card designs quite a lot, I'll always print that on this paper, and I'll print, like if I make bunting, just any little projects I do which aren't prints, I'll use this paper. Also I print all my thank you notes on this paper. It just has a really nice finish to it. It feels really nice and soft. Yeah, I just love the way that paper feels, and it's also super high quality and the print quality is lovely on it, so that's the paper I'll use for any projects that I'm doing. So yeah, those are my 3 go-to papers. The Photo Paper Pro Premium Matte for all my prints, the double-sided matte paper for any little projects that I'm doing, and then the premium fine art smooth if I want something like super luxury looking with a little bit more texture. These are my favourite papers that I recommend. They also offer so many different types of paper. These are just the ones that I've found work well for what I do. And thanks again to Canon for sponsoring this video. Because I've been talking about a future shop update in this video, I hope I talk about it during the voiceover. I imagine I will have spoken about it. I wanted to show you these. I never actually showed them. I've got new sticker designs. These aren't currently on the shop, but they will be when I do the shop update, just because I want to like release everything at the same time. But I got these from Vograce. They did give me a discount code to get these, so I still had to pay a little bit, but I basically got them for free, so you know, disclaimer. But I really like the quality of them. They're like a little bit shinier than my usual ones, but they feel, I've been testing one out. I've popped it on the back of my sketchbook and it's been on there for a while and it's still like looking really, really good. But yeah, I wanted to show you the new designs. So we've got a cute little bird, frog. This is what I currently have on the back of my sketchbook and it still looks really cute. And this one's really big. If I compare it to my hand, oh, that's a pretty big sticker. I think the print quality turned out really good as well. So yeah, I would recommend using Vograce. I've done a lot of researching into stickers and looking at prices, and I'd say Vograce is definitely on the more affordable end of stickers as well. And then these are so cute. I'm going to sell these as a little sticker set. So I got this little mouse and the one with the drum and the trumpet one. I think these will make the cutest little sticker set. Like, how cute are they? They look so nice. I'll actually show you, I'll give you a little update on how the shop, the future shop update will go. So these are all the prints I have planned. I have these stickers, so I've already got those stickers. I need to finish off this bird piece, so that will go in that slot there. These are just placeholder, these boxes. I'm going to do maybe another harbour collage, maybe a collage of a boat and then something to do with teapots. So that's the plan for the shop update. But I'm on my way. And then also like a washi tape, maybe inspired by these boats. So there's still quite a fair bit to go with the shop update, but these guys mean I'm one step closer. So can I pick this up? What's going on? Can't pick it up. What? Oh my god, it took ages. But yeah, again, these were from Vogue Grace. I would really recommend them because these are super high quality stickers. These are the 2 bird stickers which I currently sell, and this one goes quite nicely with it, especially the duck, because they're quite a similar style. They go quite nicely together. Okay, now I'm going to explain myself a little bit here. I have made the whole piece again. Well, work in progress, but here's the original there, and I made the whole thing again, and you might be thinking why, and it's because when I was editing it, so I put it into Photoshop and I started messing around with it, and I've decided it's going to be called Soar and Swoop. That was an Instagram suggestion on a story, so I really like that name. Obviously this is just a placeholder text, so I'm going to like paint it by hand, but I popped it into Photoshop and there was just things which were bugging me. Mainly this corner here looks weird. I think the towers are quite messy, the like church spikes, I suppose they're quite messy. And then all this like little sketchy area here, when you zoom out, just isn't like noticeable enough. Like you basically can't even really see it's there. Also, because I did it in a sketchbook, I've tried to edit it out, but I had a very like clear line there where the middle of the sketchbook was, and it was really fuzzy because the scanner couldn't properly scan where the like crevice of the page was, so it just looks a bit of a mess here. So I've tried to fix it, but I don't like how it's worked, and I just think there's a lot of improvements can be made, but I really like the concept, so I thought I would try again, but this time try to bring my collage in because I would like this to be part of the portfolio, and I just want there to be like a cohesive style throughout the portfolio. So this is showing that I can collage, but I can also do more mixed media. So it's still, I've kind of taken my favourite elements from this and I've combined it with collage. So this is very mixed media. We've got all of this is collaged, and then it's also the watercolour, but then there's little bits collage and then coloured pencil drawing into it, going in with the acrylic gouache as well, to still add the tree details, and I like it. I still don't know which I prefer at the moment. I mean, I did this as an experiment, and then if I don't like the way this turns out, I still have this to fall back on, because I know if I spend like a while editing it, I can probably get it up to standard. But I was thinking, let's just try again, because I wanted to see how I could make it look with collage. I've started cutting out lots of little birds, so I'm going to fill the space with birds, and also do a mix of painting birds. So there's going to be a mix of outlines of birds, painted birds, collage birds, probably ones I do with pencil, and then I'm going to work it back into the sky with this crayon here to just bring out the shapes of the swoop, and then we'll see how it looks. I really like this. I think it's quite playful. I think this section was a lot more successful compared to this section, which just looks, it's a little bit too messy, and I think the perspective is a bit weird, how there's like, and I don't like how there's like a really straight line and then a curved line, and then it just looks a little bit wonky. Whereas here, while it still is quite messy, it just makes a little bit more sense in the environment. Or at least that's what I think. And then this top space will obviously be where the title goes, so I'll try to leave that pretty empty. There you go, that's how it's going. So here it is, part 2 of this piece. I was on the fence for ages. I was really debating with myself, do I do this again? Because I didn't want to like waste a bunch of time making something again if the original version got the job done. And obviously it worked out in the end. Spoiler alert, this piece does end up a lot nicer. But I was really on the fence about it because like I didn't know, like, because it was going to be for my portfolio. I was thinking, like, is it good enough for my portfolio? I think it is, but then also if it's on my portfolio, it's such a different style to everything else, and in that it doesn't include collage. Is it just going to look weird on a portfolio? Like, should there be a cohesive style throughout it, or is it good to show that I can do different things? So the debate was very strong in my head, but I just thought, you know what, like, am I going to lose like a day and a half, 2 days worth of work? If it goes bad, like, it's fine. Spend that time like just getting better and improving, even if it doesn't go well. Like, I've learned from it. So I went into it with not like the high expectations. I just thought, you know, if it turns out better, great. If it doesn't, I still have this other piece to fall back on. The collage part of it, like, I was questioning it the whole way through. I was like questioning it up until I started adding the birds in, really. I mean, once I did the sky in, I was like, okay, right, it's actually starting to come together. But up until that point, I was thinking, I don't know, I still really like the sketchbook version. Have I wasted my time? But you know what? You just got to trust the process, as hard as it is. You know, things do look kind of bad until they look good. And unfortunately, that's kind of what it's like with art. The birds are a mix of coloured pencil, paint, like watercolour, and collage. The sky is acrylic gouache, but really watered down, which I worked into with my Caran d'Ache crayons, and then also worked back into with watercolour, like adding the extra details into the sky. That's all watercolour. The base, the houses are mainly all collage, but worked into that with my pencils and crayons, and even the watercolour on top. And then also all the paper I was using for the collage. Did I paint paper? Yeah, I think I painted paper especially for this piece as well. I didn't film any of that process, but I painted a few sheets of paper, and that's using acrylic and just printer paper. So this piece was really mixed media, but I'm really glad I tried it again because it turned out much better. Okay, so it's a new day. I finished this off last night, although I'm not really sure if it's done. I look at it and think maybe a few more birds, maybe another little squiggle in the sky. But for now, I'm calling that done because I can always like play around with extra birds and swirls on Photoshop. I think it's quite a big improvement from the original. I much prefer the sky. I think this section here is a lot more improved on that one. And it also just feels a lot more like me and the art that I make, because it does include collage, and I just think it's a little bit more playful because of the swirls. Because although I did love this piece, I knew it wasn't my best and I could do better. But considering like I made this up kind of on the spot with no planning, I think it's quite good. Did my rough one to make my good one. I did start messing about with a title the other day, but I didn't know what I was going to call it. Originally I was thinking of calling it like Flutter Murmuration, but that's just too long of a word. And then I did a thing on Instagram asking for names, and someone suggested Soar and Swoop, and I really like that. But I'm going to paint it in the exact same style here. I think that style of writing will match this illustration really well. I then spent the next few hours editing this piece on Photoshop. I scanned it in. Usually I'll just take pictures of my art. You might have saw in my last video I posted where I showed how I make prints. I followed a lot of the same steps for this one. The difference being I scanned it this time. I do have a scanner, but it is quite bad, so I don't use it a lot of the time. But this time I thought I'd just give it a go, and the original scan, it took a lot of the colour away. So you can see the original scan, like, it looks nothing like the actual piece. So I spent ages just trying to get it to look like what it actually looks like, just adding on extra layers to bring the colour back in. And then just trying to get it to work with the title, so bringing like a lot of like taking things out and bringing things in to make it work with the title. So there's a book cover version which I made for this imaginary children's book, and then I also made the print version because eventually I would like to sell this on my shop. So for the print version I had to kind of rework the piece to work better with that gap, because obviously there's quite a big gap at the top where the title was, so just adding a few extra birds and bits and bobs to make the face space look a bit more filled. Oh, I also added a tiny little sun right at the bottom, which I thought was a cute detail. But there you go, that's this video. I hope you've enjoyed seeing lots of art. You saw a cute little collage of that tea party at the start, some order packing. Also thanks again to Canon for sponsoring this video, and seeing me put together this book cover. I hope you've enjoyed, and thank you very much for sticking to the end of this video. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.